If you struggle with conversions and closing leads, then you're going to want to tune into this week's episode. With a few simple strategies, you can not only boost your lead conversion, but also your business. Hey, I'm Michelle Reese, founder of the Align Agent Academy, where I get to help agents like you create a multi-figure business by increasing productivity and reducing the overwhelm. And today, I'm going to show you how. Hey there, and welcome back to this week's episode. Today we're going to dive right in because I have a lot of information to share with you, and it happens to be a topic that I feel like most agents seem to struggle with. It's one that I know for sure that they wish they could avoid, but you can't, because it's the single biggest revenue generating action in your business, and that's your ability to close and convert leads. It's lead conversion. Now, as we go through this today, I'm going to be touching upon DISC assessments. Now, you guys know I love DISC assessments, and the reason why I like to use them is because it gives you a framework to work with to understand the different personality styles of people that you're working with. Now, some of you might think about lead conversion and wonder whether or not you have to be aggressive or show up highly assertive or, implement things like the foot in the door strategy. And none of that is actually true. The best lead converters are the ones who are able to adapt their style to the people that they're working with. And so me being able to share with you this framework using DISC assessments is going to allow you to understand the people that you're working with, their communication styles, the things that they need to hear and see from you in order for you to be able to easily convert them. Now, before we dive in, I'd love to know what things you are struggling with when it comes to lead conversion. Is it the fear around what it's supposed to look like? Is it that you're having a hard time closing people or asking for the close? What is it specifically that you are struggling with when it comes to lead conversion? Let me know in the comments below. The more that you share with me, the more I'm able to tailor future episodes to this particular topic. All right, so let's get started. Now, first, let me give a bit of a history on DISC assessments. I'm not sure if I've ever done that. It's going to be very brief. First of all, it's one of the oldest and most widely used personality profiles. Why do we use it? Because it is really easy to understand. It breaks everything down into 4 particular profiles, and in each of these profiles it gives some character traits that allow you as a salesperson to be able to quickly speed read people. Now, I'm going to go through all 4 of the personality styles again, and in each of these styles I'm going to give you some tips for how to speed read. What are some of the characteristics that you might see in somebody who demonstrates this particular profile or type? And then from there, I'm going to be giving you some tips and strategies for how to better your lead conversion strategy when you're working with people in this particular profile. All right, the 4 DISC profiles are our dominance or driver personality styles, our influence or inspiring personality styles, our steadiness and supporter styles, and our conscientious and compliant styles. Each of these profiles really have their own specific character traits. We are not just one specific profile. We are much more dynamic than just one category, but we tend to adopt or lean into a preferred style, which is why it's very easy for us to speed read and categorize people. So as I go through this, I want you to remember that we are not just one way, but when you can understand where somebody's tendencies or preferences might lean into, you're better able to identify these character traits, which means you can categorize them into which of the 4 DISC personality styles they are, and then you can use some of the tips and strategies that I'm going to share with you today to help you boost those lead conversion skills with them. Now, as I shared a little bit earlier, we all show up with one sort of way, right? We have a persona that we put on, and that tends to be that dominant personality style that we see. But underneath that, there's what's called a shadow aspect. And it's something that, not to complicate it, but it is a way for you to sort of see what other traits might show up. I like to kind of describe this when people are under pressure. We are who we are, but when we are under pressure, we might demonstrate different traits or different personality profiles. And so when you can understand that there's 2 sides to the coin, it's going to help you to better understand people. More than that, it's going to help you to empathize with where that person is mentally, physically, spiritually, and how you can better prepare them or calm them down or meet their needs so that you can start to build better rapport. Because at the end of all of this lead conversion really comes down to the two things. It's rapport and trust. And those of you who are able to adopt your style and really be flexible and meet the needs of the people that you're working with, that's going to help you to build that rapport. And that's also going to help you to build that sense of trust, which then leads to future business. So one of the things that I want to remind you is that mirroring and matching is one of the techniques that you can use no matter what style you're working with in order to help build rapport. The brain sees things as familiar. And so if you have a client that's crossing their arms and you cross their arms, that registers as something familiar. Anything that is familiar is deemed to be trustworthy. So this is why mirroring and matching works. If you have somebody that talks really fast and is very energetic and uses their hands, like I sometimes do, if you match them and mirror and match their behavior traits, that's also going to register as something that's comfortable or familiar, and that's also going to help to build that trust. So even if you cannot or are not ready yet to really perfect and understand the 4 skills or the 4 traits that I'm going to go through, a very simple technique to help boost lead conversion is in your ability to be able to mirror and match people. All right, so let's just dive right in. The first personality style is our dominant driver types. Now, some traits that you might see in the dominant drivers are things like driving personalities. They're very direct. They can be very assertive. They can also be very decisive. But when a D style is working in the negative, say when they're under pressure in a heated market, or if they're going through financial troubles, or they're just not sure what the right decision is for them, you might see a different set of traits come out in them. What you'll see with the D type is that they might come across very direct, almost blunt, insensitive. They can also appear impatient or critical. Now, this is when someone's working in the negative aspect of their personality style. So you're not going to see this most often. But the reason why I bring that up is A, when you are working with people in real estate scenarios, it's not always easygoing. There are going to come times where they are under pressure. And so these are traits that I'm sharing with you that are going to help you to be able to speed read and pick up on what personality style someone might be. Now, as I've shared with other videos on DISC assessments and DISC profiles, when you're working with a D type, here's what I want you to keep in mind. A very easy way to speed read them is to notice how their communication style is. Are they somebody that likes to chit chat and small talk, or do they get right to the point? You'll often find with our dominant driver personality types is that they're really looking to get to the point. They're very people oriented, but they're also very task focused. They want to achieve the goals, they want to get the outcome that they want to see results. So here's a tip for working with our dominant driver personality types, our D types. You want to be able to get to the point right away. These are not, the type of people that you want to engage in small talk and find out how their weekend went and share what, you did this weekend. They want you to get right to the point. It also means that the sooner that you can demonstrate value and explain how you're going to help them get to the results that they want, the more they're going to appreciate that. So be really direct, be very upfront with your questions, with your feedback, with your suggestions, and make sure that you're demonstrating value right away. And when it comes to mirroring and matching, our D types want to get to the end result and be done and move on to the next task. So mirror their body language. If their arms are crossed, crossed. If they're leaning back, lean back. If they're leaning forward, lean forward. And that goes with all of the different types that I'm going to cover. But specifically when you're dealing with a dominant driver personality type, the more you can mirror and match them and adopt your style to match theirs, the more they're going to be able to feel at ease, the more they're going to sense familiarity. That's going to help to build the rapport and trust that you need to move them to the next phase of wherever you are in that sales process. Remember, D people are goal-oriented, so they want to give you business. They want to hire somebody who's competent, so you have to show them that you can and you're willing to do what's necessary to get them to where they want to go. Next up is our I types, the influencer or influencing or inspiring types. Now, these personality profiles are very people-oriented. They love working with people, through people. They love small talk. They thrive on being able to build connections, make people feel good, and also allow themselves to feel good. So some key traits that you might notice in an I type is that they're very chatty. They love to talk. They're very energetic. They're very expressive. That could just be in the way they speak and carry themselves, even in the way they dress. Sometimes that can be a really telling sign of whether or not you are working with an I personality style. So some key traits are that they're very friendly, they're very inspiring, they're very influential. Persuasiveness is something that comes naturally to them, and they do that through storytelling. So again, you'll often find our I types being very talkative and very chatty. Now, if they are working in the negative, meaning if they're under pressure or stress, you might see the opposite side of the coin with them. What you might see in an I type who's under pressure or working in the negative is that they might come across as insecure. They might worry too much about what other people think. They might have a fear of rejection. So you might not see them being as decisive as they might be if they're more calm and under pressure, because there's a sense of worry there. They want to make sure that everyone's good, that you don't think anything badly about them. So they might be a little bit more reserved than what you might see in a normal day-to-day setting. Now, the best tip that I can give you with how to boost lead conversion when you're working with an I type is to really understand that people matter. Relationships matter. That like, know, and trust factor is huge when you're working with an I type. So really be prepared to build conversation, to ask questions about them, about what happened on the weekend, to really engage in their life and get to know who they are, who their family is. Find out their dog's name, find out their birth dates, acknowledge them. The more that you can follow up, stay in contact, and build that rapport and connection, the stronger the trust factor is going to be. And I people like to work with people that they know, like, and trust. They want to know that you think about them, and they want to know that they are somebody, that you are somebody that they can work easily with. So really demonstrate that. Our third type is our S types, the steadiness supporter personality styles. These types of people are very easygoing, they're very steady in their pacing, they're predictable, they're reliable, and they thrive on stability. Now, when an S type is working under pressure, you're going to see a different side. They're going to demonstrate some different qualities. They might have a heightened fear of change. Remember, an S type likes predictability and stability, which means they like routine. These are people that you'll probably see eating the same foods every day. When they like something, they like something. There's no need to change if it's not broken. And that's usually the motto that you'll hear from them in some way, shape, or form. So our S types are very stable people. So as you are working with them, what you might notice if they're under pressure is, again, they might really resist change. You might present an option to them and they might be a little bit fearful or not jump on top of that idea right away. They also might be slow to make a decision. These are the personality styles that might need your advice. They might need your coaching and encouragement. And I know that's a big hesitation because a lot of us are afraid to give people our opinion. We want the decision to be theirs. But a little nudge in the direction of, based on what you've shared with me, I think this is the right step for you. That's going to go a long way with our S types because they need to ensure that they're not making a mistake and they want to make sure that they're doing things, right, and that there is less risk there. And so when it comes to speed reading, here's a very easy way to tell whether or not you're working with an S personality style. You're going to see them nodding as you talk. These are people that are great listeners. That is one of their strengths in communication styles. So they're not going to be overly talkative. They're very task-focused people, more than what you'll see in the I types, but they are not very talkative. And so they're really great listeners. They're usually the ones in your friends group that you will go to because they just always listen. So you'll see them nodding as you're talking. You'll see in the way they pace themselves. You're not going to find them very erratic in their behavior. They're going to be much more on the reserve spectrum than they will more external. So those are just a few key tips on how to speed read somebody who's an S style. Now, what about some tips and strategies for actually how to work with them so that you can help to boost and increase those lead conversions? Here's the thing you need to remember. Hard sales tactics will not work with them. In fact, that's actually going to do the exact opposite and have them retreat. They don't want to feel like they're sold. High pressure tactics don't work. Remember, these are people that thrive on stability and predictability. And so the more assurances you can give them, the more you can minimize risk, the more at ease they're going to be. And the more at ease they're going to be, the easier it's going to be for them to make a decision. So one of the ways that you can start to work with our S types is to give them a sense of security. If you're working with them, is there a way that you can minimize risk? Can you give them a guarantee? Any kind of service guarantee, something along the lines of, if you're not happy with the way that we're working together after the first 30 days, I'm happy to have a conversation and we can change our strategy. Or, I will allow you to, exit the contract, whatever that scenario happens to be. And of course, those are all personal decisions that you have to make in your business. But the point being, when you're working with an S type, the more you can reduce risk, the more you can put them at ease, the easier it's going to be for them to be able to make a decision and step confidently. And that stepping confidently looks a lot like, yes, I'd like to work with you. So really keep that in mind when you're working with the S types, that they are people that need stability and predictability. So the more assurances you can give them, the more at ease they're going to be, the easier it's going to be for them to say yes. The last personality profile are our C types, and these are our cautious, conscientious, compliant individuals. Now, this group of people is very similar to our D styles in that they're very task goal oriented, but they're not as concerned with people. In fact, they're one of the most reserved of the 4 personality traits. These are people that are very high on the introversion scale. Now, don't mistake introversion as unable to speak with people. That's a whole other topic of conversation. But when you're working with a C person, what you will find is that they're very compliant. They look for the rule book. They're very logical and orderly and analytical. And so if they are working in the negative, what you might find from our C people who are under pressure is that they have difficulty making a decision. They might feel stuck. You might sense this elusiveness with them. And it's not that they're unwilling or don't want to. It's really important to understand that they thrive on information. And if they're not able to make a decision, it's because they don't have enough information yet to feel confident. And when they're under pressure, that fear of making a mistake is heightened. One of the words I use to describe our C types is in their ability to get things done correctly. They're very goal-oriented, but they will not allow mistakes to happen at the expense of getting things done. So they want to have things done properly. So as you're working with a C type, a very easy way to speed read them is to take a look at how they process information. Are they list people? Are they asking a lot of questions? These are people that thrive on information and knowledge. Again, that's where they get their confidence from in order to make decisions. And so you can easily tell if they're logical, systematic, orderly, if they're asking for pamphlets and booklets, charts, anything that is information-based that's going to help them make a decision. That's probably what you're going to see from them. So what are some of the ways that you can work with our C styles? Well, if you understand that they need information to feel confident, you need to come prepared. A great word that our C styles like to use is certainty. So they have to be certain that you are the right person. They have to be certain in the information that you're sharing. So the more information that you can give them, charts, stats, case studies, research, these are the people that are going to thrive on that information. The D styles, not so much. The I styles, depending on how you're delivering the information, may or may not appreciate it, but our Cs love information. So one of the ways that you can help build that trust and rapport is to make sure that they have their questions answered. And that might mean you have to prompt them along the way. So as you're giving a presentation or taking them through some of the things that you do to help get properties sold or how you work with people, you might want to pause periodically and ask prompting questions like, does that make sense? Did you have any questions? Anytime you give them an opportunity to ask a question, it's more opportunity for them to obtain information. And again, they need the information in order to feel confident They need the confidence in order to make a decision. Those are our 4 personality styles. I've given you some very quick, easy speed reading tips along with some tips and strategies for how to boost lead conversion. Remember, our D styles are very direct people. They want the end result. They are happy to work with somebody, but you need to present and demonstrate your value and that you can and are willing to do the work to get it done. Our I people are the influential people. They like to be around people. They like the connection and the relationship. So these are people that you want to follow up with often. Our S people like security. They like steadiness. They like predictability. So anytime you can reduce the risk and give them assurance, that's going to help them to feel more confident, and that's going to help to boost their ability to be able to make a decision and say, yes, they want to work with you. And lastly, our C people, they thrive on information. And so you want to make sure that you are prompting them with, do they have any questions, and really coming prepared. If you are less prepared than they are, you've automatically lost. So make sure that you show up, that you cross those T's, you dot those I's, and that you're prepared with all the information that they need in order to make a decision confidently. Now, I know that was a lot of information to download. The best way to be able to adapt your style and understand people is to understand yourself. So if you haven't done a DISC assessment yet, head to the comment section. There's a link there where you can access a link to order a DISC assessment, and that's going to give you not only how you work best and what you expect from other people so that they can work better with you, but it also gives you clues into the other personality styles and how you can better communicate with them. The more you understand yourself, the more you engage in self-discovery, the easier it's going to be for you to be able to relate to other people. And remember, lead conversion is not about you being aggressive, assertive, or any one particular way. The best people, the best salespeople, the best business owners who are really, really good at lead conversion do so because they're flexible and adaptable, and they're able to match and mirror the styles of the people that they're working with. I hope you guys found this information useful, and if you did, I'd love to hear from you. Head down to the comment section, leave me a comment, review, or question, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell so that you can join me back here next week, same time, same place. Bye for now.